Hi, welcome to the Radiant Soul podcast. And today I've got a doozy one for you. So I'm lying in bed last night and my son is 14, right? I'm just going to set some backstory here. He's just turned 14 and like all 14-year-olds, he is wonderful, beautiful, full of energy, full of life, thinks he knows everything. And totally not doing what I want him to do. That's just some backstory, right? And and also like I was just in this headspace and I'm at home and I had a really tiring day and I'd been at loggerheads with my son for a couple of days over the need to do homework and like really, trying to sort of train him to understand that, now he's in secondary two, he really actually does need to do the homework. And he'd previously been in schools where the expectations of the children were very low. So it's a whole new dynamic this year, right? He's now in a school where there's much more expectation on the kids, and I'm also putting a bit more expectation on him. And I'm lying in bed last night and I'm just sort of feeling into the fact that like as a parent, I'm not showing up as I want to. And I felt like it was like stopping my spiritual growth. And I was feeling all this resistance and feeling all this like, oh gosh. And I was thinking of like this person I follow who's a spiritual teacher, and I followed him for years. And he purposely chose never to have children and purposely chose to probably, I think, stay out of most romantic relationships, or certainly in his later years. And he goes off into, what he calls his retreats, where he'll go and like sit in a dark room for 30 days and people will bring him food and he doesn't, he has no interaction with the outside world. And he basically lives a life like Jesus, right? He has his followers, his like main group of very good friends who do the same stuff, and it's almost like the disciples, and they go and party hard and they pray and they meditate and they do all of the spiritual work together. And it sounds bliss, right? It sounds idyllic. And so I'm lying in bed last night and I'm thinking of this and I'm thinking, oh my God, I would love to just go and sit in the mountains and meditate all day long and devote my life to God, devote my life to spirituality. Wouldn't that be great? Because all of this stuff, like living with my partner and like, having bickers over day-to-day chores or whatever, or arguing with my son over his homework, all of these day-to-day things, like having to feed my cat and being woken up by my cat all night long, all of these things are stopping me being spiritual. And they're stopping me being this amazing spiritual being that I know I could be. This is my thought process. And I immediately called bullshit on it, right? I immediately said, hang on a minute. That's like absolutely the wrong answer. Because really, what's more spiritual, right? And where does our soul grow more and evolve more than in our interactions with other people, in our relationships, in those difficult relationships or those difficult times where we are triggered and what we want to control, or what we believe, or what we want to keep reinforcing as a story in ourselves is pushed, right? It's pushed and it triggers us, and it makes us mad, right? It makes us go, see red, because it's like we've lost that control, or we've lost that ability to control that thing, and we really want to. And like, this is where we grow. This is where our spiritual evolution happens and begins. And so there is no sitting in a cave meditating all day and night. I mean, my partner even said, why would you want to go sit in a cold, damp cave? Like, I would just, he says, you're always cold, you'd hate it. Agreed. But this is just the journey, right? And so actually we can be more of our spiritual selves, we can be more enlightened, we can be more conscious as individuals if we work with what we've got, if we work with, this is quite hard to speak, if we work with the true nature of life in front of us, in all its grittiness, in all its annoyance, in all its things that like irritate us and bug us and trigger us, and and grind at our consciousness and our nerves. Like all of those things is where we get to expand, we get to grow, we get to be more of who we are. I'm going to keep that short actually as a little soul shots. Thank you for listening. Have a great week. Bye. To find out more about how to work with me, then visit soulartbyshirley.com for art, commissions and courses. And if you love this podcast, please hit subscribe and leave a review. And if you take a screenshot of your review and email it to soulartbyshirley@gmail.com, I'll send you a radiant soul hypnosis as a thank you gift. Thank you for listening. I love you. Bye.